Welcome back to the GameLink podcast. I'm your host, Lebbi, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend, Elmer. Uh,
Hey there, ho there. As you can tell, we're remoter.
uh, it's snowing pretty hard right now, so we're doing this remote. But yeah, today we're going to talk about uh, something a little bit. I mean, we're still doing like a video game movie, but it's not like a direct adaptation. So we're going to be talking about The Wizard, and it's related to the Nintendo World Championships. But first, it's been a couple weeks. What have you been up to, Elmer?
Well, besides working for the most part, with just, hours kind of picking up a little bit just because a few people have been out as of recently. Beyond that, uh, Archangel and I have figured out that, you know what, we need to utilize our Paramount Plus subscription a
Mm.
little bit more. And after just seeing the uptick in a lot of people starting to realize, oh, there's a lot of comedy gold from Rugrats just because of all the memes that have been coming out of the woodwork as of recently with different, jokes from the original Rugrats series. We've both been going, maybe we should kind of check out the original Rugrats series. And we watched a couple
Oh yeah.
episodes and we're just like, oh, wow. This show definitely, half of it was a kid's, the other half was definitely not a
Oh
kid's
yeah.
show.
Oh yeah.
And on top of that, I've actually talked to my folks recently and telling them, oh, by the way, I now understand why you guys got so excited every time we put on the Rugrats. And my folks laughed. They said, no, it's pretty much, The Simpsons, 2.0, which kind of the funny part of that is the original animators for The Simpsons when it was on the Tracy Ullman show in like the first two seasons was Klasky Chupo, the people who did the Rugrats, Real Monsters, Rocket Power, Told by Ginger, and stuff like that. Um, well, kind of based off of that, Archangel and I, we went, you know what? There's enough of a good voice cast. We should check out the supposedly cursed new Rugrats series.
Oh,
I, I have not laughed that hard in a very long time. We have been watching the new Rugrats series and actually been enjoying the hell out of it. All of the
really?
hearsay about it, I do not understand. I think it's fucking amazing.
So you're talking about the new remake, not Rugrats All Grown Up or All Growed Up or whatever?
I have no idea what you're talking about. You are speaking Greek to me right now, sir.
Okay. Okay, there was maybe it was just like a pitch, but I swear there's like a animated Rugrats series of when they're like in high school or something.
Okay, no. Yes, you are correct. There is one of them in like middle high school, somewhere like that. I never have seen an episode of that. I know what you're talking about though, but I'm just saying I have no idea what any
Oh,
reference to that would be. That was just my joke of that.
yeah, All
Um,
Grown Up from 2003.
ooh, that
It
sounds
had
like a whole lot of
five
cringe right
seasons.
there.
Holy shit, dude! It had 5 seasons.
In 2003 till what? 2007, 2008?
I'm not sure.
Shit. Yeah, no, I'm just going off, just thinking to myself, 5 seasons like that. Holy crap. So you're telling me we got to literally see the family struggles of the Rugrats from when we were literally the years we were born till the years before we graduated high school.
Yeah, it looks like yeah, so it was originally a one-time special called All Growed Up,
I remember that one.
which showed them like 10 years in the future, and it got such good ratings that they're just like, let's just make it into a whole 5 season show. Um, I'm not watching it though.
When the TV movie turns out to be a pretty good pilot, so to speak, in terms of rating.
Yep,
But so,
basically.
what was the last episode, or when did they say that that series concluded?
Uh, I'll have to look that up.
Not
I
a
was
problem
just
there.
searching it up on my server, but
Oh, sure. No, not a problem there. I just realized I'm just like, so wait, you're telling me literally the course of the Rugrats series goes from the years we were born up until
we graduated.
we graduated, and then after that, now this new series is based upon people our age having kids, and
Yeah.
now I'm just like, oh, this has come full circle, and oh, this takes on a whole new part of meaning of my
Yeah,
life.
isn't that crazy? Yeah, I love the Rugrats. I should have worn my Rugrats shirt today. Well, one of
Oh
them
shit.
anyway. But
Oh shit. Well, I'm wearing Doom Eternal today for people who are not watching our actual video feed. And yeah, no, I should have worn my Rocco's Modern Life one, but yeah, all I'm gonna say is that the new series, it's updated, so there are some moments that make you kind of go, ooh, that's not gonna age well, but simultaneously, I mean, that's what the original show was for the most part, where people that
yeah.
were growing up in the 60s and 70s,
Hmm.
and no, Archangel and I have been laughing hysterically. I mean, the voice cast is really good for it. Really
Huh.
good actual comedians and actors that are taking over for it. One of my favorites, Michael McKean from
Oh man.
Greatnesses, that is Better Call Saul, Spinal Tap, Airheads. He's fucking Lenny from Lenny and Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley. I mean, come on, it's Michael McKean. He's the voice of Grandpa Pickles, and every episode that centers on Grandpa Pickles, who was my favorite character in the original series, I am dying laughing because now he's supposed to be like this burnt out old hippie. And the very first episode, he makes reference to the fact that one, he's done mushrooms in the woods, two, he went to Woodstock, and three, the last time he did any kind of homosexual relationship was during a Save the Whales stand-in back in the 80s. And we're both
Yeah.
like,
Well,
this show is amazing.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch that because I love the Rugrats. But we okay. So because we're such fans of the Rugrats, we should plan that the Rugrats game for the PS1 should be one of the first games we talk about when once we start doing media games instead of games media. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. No, that would be a very fun time.
That's one of my favorite sound bites from a PlayStation game is from that Rugrats game when Chucky goes, "This is fun."
You do as good of a Chucky impression as Nancy Cartwright, who took over for Julie Kavanaugh, does for the Chucky voice. The only saving grace for Nancy Cartwright taking over for it is that I'm just like, it's Bart Simpson doing the voice of Chucky Finster.
It
It
fits.
it counts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But
Oh,
anyway,
and also been watching. Oh, I was going to say quickly, and then the last of that, no pun intended. Just been we've been continuing to watch The Last of Us as well
mhm.
as The Mandalorian season 3 just came back recently, and who doesn't love them some Baby Yoda? So yeah, no, pretty much watching a whole bunch of TV, and yeah, just trying to wait out the last of this fucking winter that is nonstop and pretty much
Oh
glacial at
God.
this point here in Minnesota. So.
Yeah, it's rough out here. But yeah, who doesn't love some Pedro Pascal and like everything nowadays? That's awesome.
Oh. It's fucking awesome. Which,
You
you know
seen?
what? Pedro Pascal may be the only reason I could ever convince you to watch the second Kingsman movie because he's fucking awesome in that movie.
You see that sound clip of him, or like no, it's a video clip of him saying like, "I don't got kids, but I'm still daddy." It's it's like going viral on TikTok. It's pretty good.
That's great. The funny, the two of my favorite things about Pedro Pascal. One, he acknowledges that he and Nathan Fillion look a lot alike, and there are multiple interviews with those two sitting next to each other going, so wait, are you the Ecuadorian version of me or are you the Canadian version of me? And they're trying to figure that out. And two, Pedro Pascal is like best friends with the fantastic Oscar Isaac in real life, and it's just really cute to see those two hanging out together. No,
Heck
apparently
yeah.
they met because they were two like up and coming stars at one time, and they met up at just with anytime there's a casting call for somebody of like a 20 to 30 something Hispanic looking guy, and so that's how they met up, and they just started hanging out, and then they got to be in some crappy Ben Affleck Netflix movie like what 5 or 6 years ago that I've seen but I don't remember anything about. And it's just like, no, it's cute to see that those guys just hang out all the time. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty wholesome. Well, awesome. I definitely need to check out Rugrats, and I'm so pumped for the rest of The Last of Us. But yeah, let's see. Last couple weeks, I got in a weird mood to rewatch some stuff from long ago. So I rewatched Doug Walker's Kick-Assia, uh, which is a
There's something
pretty terrible
wrong with you,
movie
man.
made by the Nostalgia Critic, but it's like amazing if you like if he was like him and his channel Awesome People, if they were a part of your life, and you haven't seen that, it's good. So then because of that, I was like, oh well, now I have to watch the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, which is even better. Um,
That is actually a good movie. I will give it
it's
to James Roth on that.
it's surprisingly charming, and you can tell it's a low budget, but they do a pretty good job. So yeah. Then I watched Happy Death Day. Finally got around to it, like what, 6 years later.
Something like that.
Which is a great
No, that
movie.
one's a fun one. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one is a fantastic slasher. I mean, if anything, I'm kind of happy with what, no pun intended, kind of happy with what kind of has come up with that series in terms of it helping to renew interest in kind of the comedy slasher genre.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Blumhouse, the people who produced that, they also did Freaky, which I have not seen all of yet. I've seen a good portion of it
Oh,
and really enjoyed. They were
that's a good
joking at
one.
one time that potentially there is going to be a Happy Death Day 3 / Freaky 2 merger movie.
Oh, really? So I know the Happy Death Day 3 has been like announced and it's in the works, but I didn't know any other details. Excuse me. It's
Oh,
dry in here. Um so yeah, besides that, I played a lot of Digimon Cyber Sleuth on my Steam Deck because that game is a lot of fun. uh, and I decided to get a bunch of work done on some projects. So I've had this huge like PA soundboard thing, um, from like the 80s. I've had it forever, and it's been sitting in garages and stuff. So it's real dirty and nasty. And I've had it apart because I've been like buying all the parts to replace everything and then refurbish it. And I finally got around to doing it. Now I just have to clean a couple more things and put it back together, but I'm pretty much done with it. I'm really excited. And then I decided I have this Japanese Game Boy camera from a very long time ago, and I found this project online to make remake the cartridge and mount like a CS like camera lens to it and do like professional style photography with actual lenses and stuff with it. And this cartridge that I make, I'll also be able to put my own software on it and stuff. So there's like a whole community around. You take three pictures with different like color filters over it, and it's a black and white camera, but you can filter these things and put them together and make color pictures and stuff. It's a whole thing. So I have a bunch of parts on the way to do that. I'm excited.
I'm trying to remember the name of the Steven Soderbergh movie that was released like almost 10 years ago that they were just touting, just going, my God, it's a movie shot on an iPhone. Dude, I think you should do it. Get this, bitches. Movie shot entirely on a Game Boy.
Oh, you'd oh man, you'd get like maybe a couple seconds worth of footage before you'd have to plug it into a computer and dump it every time. That would be so. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to think about it.
Well, I
Um,
mean, you don't have to necessarily do that, but like he said, you make it a high resolution pixels and stuff, or a little higher resolution, or at least you update the memory so you can actually shoot like it. But I think it'd be hilarious. You and I, we make a short film based off of the film of us shooting it on that. I think
we
that'd be hilarious.
could, we could. It would take a while, but we could do it. Um,
Oh
but
God,
other than
between
that,
I don't know what sounds more daunting. Oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know what sounds more daunting. Us trying to shoot a movie on that or trying to do a video game version of Russian Ark, a.k.a. the hour and 45-minute movie shot in a single take. So your
Oh,
call,
no
which sounds
thanks.
more like fun.
Yeah, yeah, I'd rather make a movie on a Game Boy camera. um, but yeah, other than that, there's a bunch of hot gaming news
Yes,
recently.
there is.
Sony and Nintendo both had presentations. There's a bunch of stuff announced, so we're not going to talk about all of it. But I'm really excited about Pikmin 4 because I love the Pikmin games, and of course, like the next Zelda game's coming out in a few months, finally. And then Sony, they're coming out with Final Fantasy 16 this year. They're coming out with a new Spider-Man game and Resident Evil 4 remake.
I heard about that one. That one I'm really excited for. I did not hear about. Um, yeah, no, I admit I didn't hear as much as I thought I did about the Sony stuff. That's no, that's interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Sony's announcement was more recent than Nintendo's was, but yeah, I'm pretty much only excited for Pikmin, Zelda, and Final Fantasy, but there's a lot of other stuff announced. So I'm sure 2023 is gonna finally be a good year for gaming again after the whole like COVID like lull in everything creative. So
Well, considering I'm playing what is still the last recent game I've ever bought, my Doom Eternal T-shirt, and that was back in 2020. I think I'm going to be agreeing with you there.
yep.
But what about from our front in terms of what we do here on GameLink? Should we probably talk about the announcement this past week, which is pretty exciting in terms of the video game movie world?
Oh,
Or did you not hear about this?
I'm not sure. Why don't you take it, Elmer?
So, Nintendo is in negotiations right now to be making Detective Pikachu 2. And,
Oh, no, I
and
didn't
that
hear this.
the writer and director that they hired for it was the showrunner for Portlandia.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think you and I are both sporting the best and biggest and most stereotypical, early middle-aged millennial white guy smiles right now, going, "Wait a minute, the
Yeah.
Portlandia guy is doing Detective Pikachu too? Awesome!"
I smiled like a beta for a second.
I can tell you right now, this soy boy who is currently wearing a dude sweater is definitely grinning from ear to ear, knowing that, shit, this could actually be fucking funny.
Well, I'm wearing a pink hooded flannel, so I'm not being very alpha today.
And I should probably bring and draw attention to the elephant in the room for any people that are either watching this on YouTube after the fact or potentially maybe currently watching us via the Twitch stream, which, considering our video ship audience is not exactly a large forefront, but fuck it, we're having fun. Anyway, I have an eye patch on with a googly eye, a gigantic googly eye attached to it. One thing that I actually suffer from is myopic diplopia, which means that I have an ill-developed muscle in my left eye. Because of that, that's why I have to wear glasses. I actually have better than 20/20 vision. I have 20/20 in one eye, and I have 20/25 in the other, meaning that I can actually see something at 25 feet that somebody with a vision displacement of 20/20 feet would have a hard time seeing. Anyway, long story short, it's a good way of actually training one muscle or the ill-developed muscle in my eye, so that way I don't have to update my prescription so oftenly. That is why I look like a porno version of Mad Eye Moody from the fucking Harry Potter movies right now. Not saying I couldn't do a pretty good Brendan Gleeson cosplay. I probably could, but at the same time, that's not something I'm going to be striving for in the near future. Anyway, people watching the stream at any time we're watching this, just remember, look at my good eye.
You're the Mad Eye Moody we have at home.
Although, with how hard my hairline is receding and how I look right now, I look a lot like Brendan Gleeson's son. I forget that little Domhnall Gleeson right now. So yeah, no, I do. I look like the softcore porno version of Mad Eye Moody, which Domhnall Gleeson is probably in.
Okay, well, I suppose we can finally talk about Nintendo World Championship and the Wizard.
I thought you were going to say Nintendo World Championship, the motion picture. I'm just like, nah, not wrong.
Pretty much, like the title says, it's basically Nintendo presents Rainman. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so
Which
the
is so
Nintendo,
just fucking hysterical.
I when Elmer said Nintendo presents Rainman, I died. It's
I
it's
didn't come
so
up with
accurate.
that. I heard that or read that at one time because I'm the person who kept telling Lebby this entire time, dude, we have to do the wizard at some point. I don't know when, but we have to do it. And we realized great counter programming would have been if we would have done this the weekend of the Super Bowl, but simultaneously we're like, we're both busy. But
Yeah,
yes, no, we both been clamoring to do this one, both from a nostalgia as well as a
yeah.
holy shit, this is ironic level. So
Yeah, it's I I watched this movie quite a few times growing up, but I wasn't quite old enough to take place in the Nintendo World Championship, being born a year after it took place. So, um, the Nintendo World Championship was a tournament held by Nintendo in 1990, um, and the reason why is because the NES released like a few years before that, and it really had a lot of momentum. And this was like the original comeback of video games after like the Atari crash. So they wanted to keep the momentum going, and like Mario and Zelda were extremely popular. So they're like, hey, let's put on this tournament. Um, it was one of the world's first ever gaming tournaments, uh, and this was like before esports was even like a term or a thing, right? Um, it took place in 29 U.S. cities, and they wanted to figure out who the best gamers were in America. So they created a special challenge cartridge, um, with I think 3 games on it. So you had the first Super Mario Brothers. The goal was to collect 50 coins as fast as possible, and then it would go on to Ridge Racer, and it was only the first race, but you'd have to finish that as fast as possible. And then it was a game of Tetris, which was timed, and the goal was to get the highest score possible within the time limit. Um, so you qualify for that, and you got to go to the world finals at Universal Studios Hollywood, and brackets were divided up by age groups, and 90 finalists um, that competed got a gray, like the an actual cartridge from the competition with the games on it. Um, and then I think Nintendo Power had a giveaway. I think it was only like 26 or so gold Nintendo World Championship cartridges. So you can imagine there's probably only about 100 of these things total out there. So they're pretty rare. Um, they're so because they were so limited, um, they happen to be the rarest artifact from like early Nintendo, and it's often referred to as like the holy grail of like collecting. Um, so like if you've been watching like video game content for a long time, like Angry Video Game Nerd has a video about the cartridge that he bought, and like Pat the NES Punk has one, and they're actually in each other's videos about it. And um, I think currently it's going for about $26,000 for one of these, just the gray one. I don't even want to know how much a gold one costs. Apparently, according to like collectors, the price about doubles every year. So um, it's it's nuts. Nobody's sure of the exact number that's out there, but we know there's only 26 gold ones. So prices are going to go up in quite a hurry. But the tournament was such a big deal that Nintendo basically used the wizard as a way to like build hype for it. So they licensed their lineup of like featured games and like ideas and whatever to the movie before Fred Savage's controversy. Um,
Uh, I like how you're saying controversy as if there shouldn't be plural on that, but yes, you are correct.
well, he was only like 11, so he wasn't going around grabbing anyone. I hope.
Well, he wasn't. He doesn't grab anyone now. He's just an asshole. But
uh, but yeah, if you've seen the movie, it's like it's pretty much like a direct tie-in with the actual tournament. They just don't call it the Nintendo World Championships. But yeah, if you think the whole thing sounds cool, you can buy reproduction cartridges if you want to play it. Or I'm sure you can just download the ROM legally from somewhere. I'm sure. Uh, Otherwise, I'd check out the Angry Video Game Nerds video about it. It's an interesting comedy, like form of comedy. If you're not into it, I apologize, but I love that video. I watched it earlier, actually.
I haven't seen that video. I'm probably close, definitely over 10 years was the last time I saw that video because
Yeah.
I saw that one too back in the day, and I will say it. While the comedy portion of it has not aged well, if there's one thing that I will give Mr. Rolf is that what he does present in terms of like maybe not quite behind the scenes, but in terms of historical value to it, no, it's actually quite interesting, quite fascinating, especially with in terms of it's a good representation of what the collecting market was like at the time
Mhm.
when they shot that video. Which, dear God, that's over a decade ago when that video came out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, that's the thing is like you can really tell that he cares about collecting and preservation and he knows what he's talking about. I don't know, he doesn't have any scandals. He's never been canceled. So,
James Rolfe, he's a good guy. The
and he
comedy
goes,
isn't good, but the video is pretty
"Yes!"
good. Yeah, yeah, yes. Shit pickle. No.
Shit pickle, shit pickle. Yeah.
Oh, boy, oh boy.
Anyway, yeah. What did you find out about this production?
Oh boy. Okay. Um. So around the time that Nintendo was releasing to the United States or the North American market, Mario 2, there was very similar to simultaneously. I was about to bring up the joke that when you really look at in terms of the video game and collecting market, there's quite a watershed moment around the time that we have the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of people actually finding themselves at home and adapting to and beginning to start to go, oh, wait, no, what, since I can't go out to the bar, I can't go out to the movies, I can't go out in public.
Hmm.
What am I going to use my money for? Let's go to the collector market. Hence, when you were talking about how the price of the actual Nintendo World Tournament, the price of that, quadrupling pretty much on almost not even a decade basis, but almost like a 4 to 5 year basis, it just reminded me of this. So as well, during the COVID-19 pandemic, when we ended up having the chip shortage pretty much for graphics cards around the world, hence why to this day, even people still are hoarding PS5s once they come out the door. Back in 1988, around the time that Mario 2 came out, there was a silicon chip shortage throughout the world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because of that, then they started reaching out and realizing, shit, we are not going to be able to get the marketing value that we figure we would have for Super Mario Brothers 2. We need to figure out how exactly we're going to be able to reach, the North American market at this point. Which brings us to one of the things that inevitably we need to talk about one of these days, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh, you don't even know. I would love to talk about that show. I already have it all downloaded. I'm sure you're aware.
Oh, I'm aware. Oh, we need to do that a weekend that we both have that next Monday off because I've got a feeling that's going to be a If anything, that will be the first episode that we record here, so that way you and I can sit next to each other in my library and then just be like, okay, so this is what we're doing here. We're talking about the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Anyway, one of the
We
reasons that
should we make that a double feature with the Zelda animated series so that we don't have to get a hangover twice?
well, inevitably we got to do Captain N the Game Master, and I mean there was the crossover episode of that with the Zelda series. So your call on that. Should we do a triple feature?
We'll see. We'll see. Depends on how much time we'll have.
Oh God, for that one, I think we might have to summon the powers of Cool Cat, so that way it's a 3-person in episode show on that. Because holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, oh, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Yeah, we should try to get that together.
Okay, coming 2024, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show / Legend of Zelda / Captain M the Game Master super episode. Maybe. But so anyway, one of the main reasons that the Super Mario Brothers Super Show went into syndication was the fact that Nintendo was kind of licensing out a lot of their rights to try to make up for the fact that they weren't going to be able to make up as much as they did for the initial release of the Super Nintendo back in, was it 85 or 86 for the NES?
Uh, I want to say 85, but that might just be the Famicom.
That's kind of the hard part when it comes to trying to look up Nintendo history and stuff like that, is you have to look on it in terms of where exactly is the person writing the article writing from.
Yeah, yeah. In Japan, it was 85 with the Famicom, and in America, 86.
Okay, that makes sense then. I mean, with the initial success of Super Mario Brothers on that, it definitely makes sense. The fact that, you know, once Super Mario Brothers 2 comes out, Nintendo's like, oh, hey, we're going to make a whole bunch of bucks just because in terms of brand recognition and loyalty, and then realizing, oh, we're not going to have the same impact in terms of this. It makes sense why they're going to reach out to different media markets to try to market said movie. Because of that, because of a lot of NBC owned by Universal to this day, were in terms of syndication rights for Super Mario Brothers Super Show, one of the studio heads at Universal at the time approached Nintendo and said, hey, have you guys ever thought about maybe trying to do a movie? And no joke, technically, this is the first contractually obligated Nintendo movie. This
Huh.
still beats out Super Mario Brothers by almost 6 years.
Interesting.
Now, the director of this film is an individual who has gone on to do a lot of television before this as well as after this. The gentleman's name is Todd Holland, and he himself went into the production of this going, oh no, this needs to be a serious drama. This needs to be a serious film. We're just going to have the video game part of it to be almost an afterthought. The original pitch for the film was supposed to be the Karate Kid with video games. Now, I don't know who the flying fuck is supposed to be the Mr. Miyagi in this, but dear God, I want to see that where some burnt out fucking hippie from 1977 who played a shitload of Pong going, okay, kid, here's how you play fucking Nintendo games. But unfortunately, that is not what we got. Instead, as the title of the episode says, this is more like Rainman with video games.
Yeah,
Sorry, or is presented by Nintendo.
it did not hold up as well as I remembered it. I think the last time I watched this movie was about 12 years ago, and even then I was like, "Yeah, this is a good movie," you know. Uh, I don't know. But watching it now, maybe it's because of how much woke propaganda has seeped into my brain. But it's just a bunch of kids like this person who clearly has this kid that clearly has autism. He doesn't need special care. He doesn't need adults. We need to hitchhike across the country and prove that he can play video game good. It's like I think what Elmer said is like it's a parent's worst nightmare.
I have no paternal instincts whatsoever. Today is the day I realized I am now an old man in the fact that as I myself, a 30-year-old godfather, is thinking to myself, this literally is a parent's worst nightmare. Your less than 14-year-old children sneak out of the house and cross country hitchhike to go play video games.
Yeah.
Every kid in 1989, this is awesome. Every parent, this is fucking
Yeah.
horrifying.
And it's like, hey, get rides with motorcycle gangs, call up your buddy Spanky the trucker. Literally. Use arcades as a way to like bet and gamble your way across the country. Uh, I don't know. It was like a kind of a surreal thing rewatching it now. But I mean, it still had that classic '80s charm.
It
You
was
know,
kitschy as fuck. And can we please bring up the cast of this film? Because as I may have brought attention to earlier, this film is second fiddle the motion picture, if you really think
it
about it.
it had a great cast.
You have as a family unit, you literally have Fred Savage from the Wonder Years. You have Christian Slater of Christian Slater fame. You have Beau Bridges of being brother of Jeff Bridges fame. You have Tobey Maguire as kind of the toady of Russ or of Lucas. You have Lucas fame of later going on to being given 10 years probation for sexual misconduct with a minor and is currently a registered sex offender. And which is why when he makes the fist with the power glove, I cringe so hard to this day.
Yeah, it had like an all-star cast.
Jenny
Uh,
Lewis of people we maybe shouldn't have been masturbating to in the mid 1990s while watching MTV. Only me? Okay, sorry.
I didn't even. You said Tobey Maguire, and I didn't even realize that he was in that little shitty friend group until now. Till I look it up. Everyone, it's 1989, so everyone's wearing like a faded hot pink T-shirt. It's hot.
I just realized this was 1989 this is 1989 produced by Universal. Do you know what else came out in 1989 produced by Universal that also has a up and coming star in it that later made a shitload of money for just about everybody? That's about the same age as Mr. McGuire. That'd be our good friends Back to the Future Part 2 with Elijah Wood in the
Oh.
1980s cafe scene.
Oh. God, I love Elijah Wood.
I do too. But now I'm just imagining, I'm just like, ooh, team up movie. You have Elijah Wood's character from 2015 in Back to the Future Part 2 meeting up with Tobey Maguire's character in this. And now I'm literally explaining an episode of To Catch a Predator. So never mind. We're not going to do that.
Okay, well, let's see. So what else happens? So they get to the tournament. Clearly, the special kid wins the tournament because he's special, and that's how that works.
Maybe we should also bring up the fact that they are side hustling grown adults who are trying to play Pac-Man, or no, not Pac-Man. Sorry, they are trying, or adults in broad daylight. Some of them actual business people who are wearing either business suits or some sort of a quote unquote, you know, adult working class style of jobs. They are side hustling them to see if they could reach a high score in Nintendo produced video games.
Yep. Everything is a Nintendo video game. They go to one city and they beat someone in Double Dragon to get money, and then they go to the next city and they beat someone in Tetris, and they go to the next city and they beat someone in Ridge Racer, and then they go to the next, and it's like you can tell what's happening, like, or what's gonna happen for the whole movie. They eventually get to the tournament, world champions, and obviously they win. Uh, and the whole time they're being chased by a missing kid bounty hunter who's just a butthole.
Oh, lordy. Finding out about this guy. Oh. Gentleman who plays the child bounty hunter in this, which both Lebbi and I were just laughing hysterically about, is a character actor by the name of Will Seltzer. And this gentleman, this gentleman, kind of broke my heart tonight. I'm not going to lie. So Mr. Will Seltzer, who is a good character actor, he has been in quite a few film and television programs, and he's done a great job. Mr. Seltzer was the second choice for Luke Skywalker after Mark Hamill. His legacy is going to be playing the child bounty hunter to a creepy level in The Wizard. As I said to Lebbi earlier tonight, I think if I knew that was my legacy, I was going to be the child bounty hunter in The Wizard, I would just walk off of an overpass. But
yeah, it's great.
It sounds like he has a great life. He's a good person. He's having, you know what? He understands that, you know what? I am who I am. So you know what? Good on you, Mr. Seltzer. I'm sorry to laugh, but holy fuck, man.
Oh, yeah, it was. What a role. There's no way there's a person that exists like that. But, yeah, no, it was great. They, like, accuse him of being, like, a diddler to get away from him and stuff. Classic 80s antics. You know, he never gets arrested or anything, obviously. Because it's the 80s, you know?
No, good point. The only thing sadder than his character portrayal in this is the actual announcer of said Nintendo tournament there, because that guy just really, really wants to be Tim Curry, but he is not Tim Curry. And even sadder, the fact that you look at that guy's career and you realize, oh, this guy really wanted to be Bruce Payne. And the fact that anybody listening to this is now Googling who the fuck Bruce Payne is just goes to show that, oh no, this guy wanted to be Bruce Payne. Oh no.
Well, do you have any favorite parts or scenes from this movie, Elmer?
Do I? Bo Bridges revealing at 7 o'clock in the morning that he's been playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES all night long, and I'm just like, that's just proof enough to show that you really are Jeff Bridges' older brother. The fact that you were able to, keep going all night long to that
I'm
game.
Still hip. I'm young. I'm happening.
So for people who don't know, Bo Bridges, who is the son of Lloyd Bridges, the late, great Lloyd Bridges, a.k.a. I picked a wrong week to stop sniffing glue from Airplane. He is in this film. And as I said to Lebbi earlier in this evening, Jeff Bridges to this day looks exactly like what you'd expect a burnt-out hippie to look like. Bo Bridges looks like the security guard who has to tell said hippie to please remove himself from the mall food court. He's starting to attract a hell of a stench. But, Lloyd, I was about to say Lloyd Bridges. Although oh, God. Do you think Lloyd Bridges actually attended the premiere to this movie?
I have no idea. I hope
not. The President of the United States from Hot Shots Part 2. Do you think he attended the premiere of this film with Bo? No.
I hope not.
I kind of hope so. But, no, Bo Bridges playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, talking about, oh, God, I got the staff and we're fighting Splinter and stuff like that. This movie came out a year before the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie actually came out. I'm trying to imagine what the hell was going through Bo Bridges' mind, other than the fact that I am affording myself a new car at the end of this film production. So why do I care what I'm talking about? But no, this movie is a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. I think my favorite part was when the kids call up their friend Spanky the trucker, and they go to a casino in Reno, and for some reason the girl just knows what's gonna come up on like the what were they playing, like roulette or craps or something.
They're playing craps, yeah.
Yeah, she just knew what was gonna happen because that's how gambling works. You can just outsmart it.
You
Uh,
can side hustle and side smart craps.
yep. So they're using an adult to gamble for them, and it was just so absurd. And I was just like, that really is like such an eight. Like you can't get away with any of this stuff now.
You have an underage girl walking around a casino in Reno, Nevada, shouting, "Spanky! Spanky!" And this big buff dude in trucker garb without any sleeves looks over from a craps table and goes, "Hey!" And you're just like, oh, this ain't gonna look in. This doesn't look good from any form of evidence produced for the court at this point.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But with all that said, let's wrap it up here, Elmer. Was it a bop or a flop?
Okay, so this is this is gonna be slightly contradictory, but you know what? I gotta go with my heart, not with my head on this. With it being the first video game competition movie, Tron don't count, it is gonna be a bop in the fact that it helped to establish the actual esports market, for better or worse, and it helped to set the precedent in terms of, oh hey, video games do have a lasting legacy within, well, pretty much the entertainment industry.
They just made video games look good. Like it worked. So
But oh god, no. Simultaneously, you and
there's a
I were
lot to
both on
complain
pins.
about.
There is a whole lot to complain
Yeah.
about. From Jenny Lewis screaming out in the middle of the film, "He grabbed my breast," after pointing at a social worker who is trying to help these individuals who probably should be going back to their parents and everything. Anyway, yes, no, film, while problematic at the same time, if you look at it from the lens of you need to be 12 years old when you're watching this, I'd call it a
Yeah.
bop.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
a flop when you are us and you're old and going, oh no, no,
Yeah. No.
stranger danger, stranger danger. Do not go with Spanky the trucker. Also, I kept making over the top jokes this entire time. Here's the funny bit. You look carefully, Spanky's truck says Hawk on the side. That's the truck from Over the Top, actually.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Like mostly for nostalgic purposes, this movie's a bop. If you're perhaps a Gen Zer, this probably won't be a bop for you. Unless you like 80s movies or if you're into retro games and stuff. But yeah, it holds it doesn't hold up as well as it should. But I still, I mean, this movie it's always a pleasure. So if you can look past the problematic bits, I think you'll have a great time.
On top of that, I mean, if you are somebody who is a fan of this that has found us just kind of talking about it and thought, oh, hey, maybe I need to revisit this, check out the Shout Factor release of this film where they did, within the past few years, a director's cut version of it that literally is over 2 hours long. The version we watched was 100 minutes. The original script for it and the original cut of it called for almost 2.5 hours.
Jeez.
And yeah, exactly. But no, apparently the as somebody once said, the over 2 hour director's cut actually puts a lot of perspective in it. It makes it quite the engaging and interactive road movie. And I'm just like, really? It's 5 easy pieces with video games? Really?
Well, with that, I suppose we'll end it here. If you want to check out our videos of the podcast, you can find us on YouTube. Or if you're watching our video and want to just find us in your favorite podcasting app, head over to gamelink.click. We're going to have all our socials and links and everything there, so go check it out. Otherwise, we'll be back. I don't know if we're going to be doing every week or every other week, but we'll be back soon with something good for you. So with that, we'll let you guys have a good night.
Hater Hoder, have a good time there, folks. Stay safe, stay sexy, and maybe not necessarily for next time, but well, we did talk about potentially doing Ratchet and Clank. Since they haven't done a Crash Bandicoot movie at this point, we should try to figure out what would be fun to do next.
Ooh, yeah, we'll figure out something good. But anyway, we'll see you soon. Have a good one.
Night, folks. Anybody in chat by chance?